Good morning to everyone. So today is our last day. So we have discussed the whole world, right? And the most volatile part of the world, that is India and West Asia. That is what we are going to discuss today. So West Asia has been the hotspot of global politics because of its oil and gas reserves. All of you know about it, right? That's why earlier USSR was active here, and now USA, China, Russia, they are playing their games here. And West Asia, you also know about, is very important for India for, again, oil and gas. We import 80% of our oil needs are met through imports, and largely we are importing from West Asia, right? So without West Asian oil and gas, our economy can't develop. Without these oil and gas, our economy will go standstill. Clear? So that's why West Asian countries are highly important to India. So we are going to discuss the entire West Asian region together. So first, little bit discuss about what countries constitute West Asia, right? So in West Asia, what countries are part of? So West Asia is also called as Western Asia or sometimes Southwest Asia. So if you see the map of Asia, then this is, if it is North Asia, then it's Central Asia. It is considered as East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, and this West Asia, or you can say Southwest Asia, right? So West Asia is also West Asia can also be called as Southwest Asia. Clear? So these are the largely countries of West Asia: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Israel, Palestine, right, etc. Turkey is connecting Asia and Europe. So part of Turkey, just like Russia, is in Asia, part is in Europe. Clear? Largely, Turkey is considered as part of Europe. Only a small area of Turkey is considered as part of Asia. So West Asia, why it is called as West Asia? India generally use the word West Asia because this region is west of India, right? So we generally include Iran, Oman, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, etc. Clear? So these countries are certainly included in West Asia. There is no fixed definition of West Asia. It's up to you what number of countries you want to include in this region for engagement. Clear? So you can include this number of countries, or you can add Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia also in this grouping, Turkey also, even Pakistan, Afghanistan also. That's your choice, that what number of countries you are putting in this group for the multilateral engagement or for your foreign policy focus. Understood? So generally Turkey is excluded, so is Armenia, Azerbaijan and Georgia. Clear? So generally this region is considered as part of West Asia, this much, right? Afghanistan, Pakistan we keep as part of South Asia. Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan part of Central Asia, and Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, etc. part of Eastern Europe, and Turkey as part of Europe, Western Europe. Clear? Because Turkey is part of NATO and so on. So we are seeing this map of West Asia politically, administratively, or from foreign policy perspective, not geographically, right? So there will be different criteria by which you will distinguish different regions of the world geographically. We are seeing this region of the world from political lens or from foreign policy lens, for engagement lens. Clear? And it overlaps Middle East or Near East region. Britain used to call this region as Middle East. Now USA also called it as Middle East, or also called as Near East. So for USA, this region, this region is in East, right? If this is the first region of East, this is the last region of East, then this is middle region of East for USA. That's why USA use the word Middle East, we use the word West Asia. Clear? USA in this Middle East region, in West Asia obviously it also include Egypt. It also include Egypt in Middle East, right? Because for USA, Suez Canal is highly important. So in US Foreign Affairs Ministry, there is a division that is Middle East, and that division focus on the events, developments, activities, etc. in this region. Clear? So that's why they have included Egypt also in Middle East division, so that whatever is happening in Egypt or around Suez Canal can be noticed, can be studied, can be taken into account by such Middle East division of US Foreign Ministry. Clear? US also include Caucasus countries into Near East division, right? So when US use the word Near East, it is including Middle Eastern countries, Egypt, and also Caucasus countries. Caucasus countries are Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Clear? So in Near East definition of USA, Caucasus countries are also included. Which one are Caucasus countries? Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. Again, this is not geographical divisions, these are political administrative divisions for foreign policy purpose or for engagement in the region. Clear? You understood? OECD includes into its definition of Middle East, Iraq, Israel, Qatar, UAE, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Palestine. So OECD is just including this part in its definition of Middle East. Clear? OECD already discussed in Europe, right? Then India's WANA division, that is West Asia, North Africa. So Indian Foreign Affairs Ministry, that is called as Ministry of External Affairs, have WANA division. This division have Indian Foreign Service officials posted, and they just focus on the developments in this region, right? Similarly, there is USA division, suppose China division, etc. They focus on developments in USA, China, etc. WANA division focus only the developments in this region. WANA. WANA means West Asia, North Africa. WANA full form is West Asia, North Africa. And in this WANA division, they include West Asia for sure, that is Syria, Palestine, Israel, etc. Then they also include North African countries like Algeria, Sudan, South Sudan, Djibouti, Lebanon. Lebanon is part of West Asia, Morocco, right? And Libya, Tunisia. So if you see this, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan. Clear? So this region, and also Djibouti. They also include Djibouti into this West Asian part. So West Asia plus North Africa constitute WANA division of Ministry of External Affairs. They can tomorrow put even Western Sahara, Niger, Mali, Chad in this division. So then this division will look into the activities in these countries also, right? Will keep a watch on whatever happening in this region which may have impact on India's interest. Clear? So they will maintain the engagement with these countries, WANA division. So North Africa and South Asia is part of WANA division. Then Ministry of External Affairs also have Gulf division. Gulf division which oversees India's relation with Gulf countries, which are Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, UAE, Gulf Cooperation Council, and Organization of Islamic States. Organization of Islamic States or Islamic countries, that at the end of this chapter we are going to discuss it. Right? Gulf Cooperation Council, just we are going to discuss. Clear? So it has Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, UAE, Yemen, Saudi Arabia. Right? This region largely they oversee. Clear? That is in Gulf division of Ministry of External Affairs. So the conclusion is that West Asia primarily consists this part. Right? This part. Clear? If you want to expand the scope of West Asia, then you can include this part, Caucasus part, or Turkey one, or even North Africa. But the general understanding is West Asia include this part: Iran, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, right? Qatar, and Bahrain. Clear? So these countries, Bahrain and Qatar, these countries constitute West Asia. Clear? So West Asia has population of more than 30 crore. Clear? So now coming to the India's focus in West Asia. So why West Asia is important for India? Energy security, right? Oil and gas. Second, manpower ties. What does it mean? Around 90 lakh Indians are working in West Asia. 90 lakh, primarily from Kerala, right? Then trade and investment. These West Asian countries are one of the largest trading partners of India because they are too close to us. That's why it's very easy to have trade with them. Then these West Asian countries have huge money with them, which they have earned from oil and gas sales, and that money they can invest in India, in India's infrastructure. They will get the benefit that they will earn some profits from those infrastructure projects. They will have their return on investments, and we will get the benefit that we will get money to spend on our infrastructure projects. Clear? Then security cooperation, especially many terrorist activities or many terrorist organizations, they take safe haven in UAE or Saudi Arabia, etc. So that's why we need these countries' government support so that they can arrest them and hand over back them to India, right? So we need extradition of these terrorist groups. That's why for security also these countries are very important to us. And who are the key actors in West Asia? Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam. So Saudi Arabia is the largest country in the peninsular part. This is the peninsula. Saudi Arabia is the largest country and also birthplace of Islam. So that's why Saudi Arabia want to emerge as leader of Gulf countries and also West Asia and also of all Islamic states in the world. So Saudi Arabia wanted to emerge itself as leader of all Islamic countries in the world. Clear? So Saudi Arabia want to emerge as leader of Gulf, West Asia and Islamic countries of the world. Then UAE, second major actor in the region. Clear? Then third is Iran. Iran is a Shia Muslim state and Saudi Arabia is Sunni Muslim state. You know that Iran has two sects, actually have multiple sects, but two main sects, that is Shia and Sunni. And majority population in Iran is Shia. And majority population in Saudi Arabia is Sunni, means 80% population of Saudi Arabia is Sunni and around 80% population of Iran is Shia. So Iran want influence in this region and also in this region, means entire West Asia Iran want under its control. Iran also wants to emerge as leader of Muslim world, of all Muslim countries of the world. Saudi Arabia want to emerge as leader of Muslim countries of the world, so is Iran. Clear? Saudi Arabia wants to emerge as leader of West Asia, so is Iran. So that's why Saudi Arabia and Iran are challengers to each other. Clear? Rivals to each other. Understood? So that's why Saudi Arabia is helping Israel in its war against Iran, because Saudi Arabia wants Iran to get subdued. Understood? Then is Israel. Israel is a Jewish state. Its official religion is Judaism, right? And Israel is actually American person in Middle East. Israel location is quite strategic one. It's just close to Suez Canal. So through Israel, America makes sure its control over Suez Canal. That Suez Canal will never get blocked for America, because America was withdrawing oil and gas from this region and it passed through Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, then Atlantic Sea, then reach America. So now how America ensures security at this critical choke point? Suez Canal, through Israel. Clear? So if anybody dares to block Suez Canal, then America can take action through Israel. Understood? Clear? Israel also wanted to emerge as leader of this region, West Asia. Clear? So these are the main players: Israel, Saudi Arabia, Iran. UAE also. You must be thinking that Saudi Arabia and UAE are friends to each other, are part of same group, right? UAE is junior partner of Saudi Arabia. No, it is not. UAE is quite active against Saudi Arabia in Yemen and in many North African countries, because UAE also want its own influence in this region. So point is, West Asian story is not as easy or simple as it seems. It's very complicated, very complicated. Whose friend, nobody can say. Whose foe, nobody can say. Understood? So it's a very complicated region of the world, very complicated. For example, let me give you Qatar. Qatar is friend of all. He has friendship with Iran, USA, Israel, Hamas, Saudi Arabia, right? Even Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Hezbollah, everybody with Qatar has friendly relation. Syria, their Bashar al-Assad government was there, right? And you know that America fought against Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. I will explain in Syria, right? And there Al-Qaeda has a branch in Syria. America was fighting against Al-Qaeda branch in Syria? No. Here Al-Qaeda branch become partner of America. And now that Al-Qaeda branch chief is president of Syria. And now that Al-Qaeda branch chief is ally of America. He's pro-America. Understood? So whose friend? Nobody knows. I've told you Qatar is friend of all. He was the main friend of Iran. Saudi Arabia do not have good relation with Iran. UAE do not have. Through Qatar, Iran used to mediate with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Israel, etc. And in this war, Israel-Iran war, you must have heard about Iran attacking Qatar. You understood? So that's why this region is highly complicated one. Whose friend? Nobody knows. Whose enemy? Nobody knows. So as we proceed, or especially when we will discuss about Yemen crisis, Syrian crisis, Israel-Palestine issue, Israel-Iran, USA issue and so on, you will get to know how complicated such region is. So oil and gas has proved both boon and bane for this region. Boon brought prosperity in countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, etc. But bane also, because this region always remained in perpetual conflict, wars, clear? Civil wars and so on. So India, since independence, have always given support for Palestinian cause, What was Palestinian cause? As we will discuss in Israel-Palestine, Palestine was a state under British control. It was colony of Britain, right? Then Israel was created out of Palestine in 1948, clear? In 1948. So Israel get created out of Palestine, you can see, right? And Israel is now increasingly occupying the territory of Palestine. So now Palestine have just this much territory left with itself. Rest all now belongs to Israel. Even that is also further shrinking day by day, month by month, year by year. So India always support for independent state of Palestine along with Israel. We believe in two-state solution, means here Israel and Palestine, two states should coexist. How, why, etc. I will explain in Israel-Palestine conflict, clear? And India always have advocated for regional stability. And Indian West Asian policy has been one of the most successful one. It's very difficult to navigate in complex relationship that these countries have with each other in West Asia. But Indian diplomats very skillfully, very craftily has walked on the tightrope of maintaining relationship with both Iran and Saudi Arabia at the same time. Israel and Saudi Arabia, Iran, etc. at the same time, right? Maintaining relationship with Syria, right? Or even Turkey, etc. So India is not considered as foe by anyone here. So we are able to get our interest served in this region. That is of oil and gas security, or security to our workers working there, right? Or these countries' cooperation against terrorist groups, be it the Pakistan-based terrorist groups or ISIS or any other extremist groups, which can put threat to India's security. Clear? So we are able to achieve our policy goals here by maintaining good relation with all. Clear? You understood? So now we will discuss evolution of India's relation with West Asian countries. So in early years of 1950s, West Asia was largely dominated by West, by USA or its allies, Britain, France, etc. Israel was US man or person in West Asia. During Afghanistan topic we have discussed, Afghanistan was maintaining neutral stance there. Iran was pro-USA at that time. Iraq was also pro-USA. Remember Baghdad Pact? Pakistan signed with USA. Pakistan was also obviously pro-USA. We have discussed. Clear? Saudi Arabia, UAE, pro-USA, Qatar, and so on. So largely West Asia was pro-USA. Clear? So the governments in these West Asian countries were largely aligned with USA-led capitalist bloc, and they were anti-communist. India have supported Palestinian cause. We always advocated for independent state of Palestine. Why? Because we don't want to offend West Asian countries, because West Asian countries are Muslim. So they are supporting Palestinian independent state against the Jewish state of Israel. So India do not want to offend these Muslim countries. Why? Because we need oil and gas from them. That's why since independence, we were supporting Palestinian cause of independent state. But India disappointed West by following the policy of non-alignment. You know that in non-alignment, we were more tilted towards USSR. Jews, do remember the area of Israel, the region in which Israel is located, is the, or you can say the West Asia itself, the Saudi Arabia, the area of Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, etc. This region is the birthplace of three religions of the world. That is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Just like out of Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism have emerged out. Similarly, out of Judaism, Islam and Christianity has emerged out. That's why you will find so many similarity between these three Abrahamic religions. For example, there will be a messenger of God. They all believe in single God. Such messenger has given certain commandments to follow, right? Then there will be a single sacred book which they will revere. In all three, you will find that after death, the person is buried, not burned, right? Because these religions have emerged from desertic land. This region is desertic, right? So that's why they can't have wood to burn the bodies. Region is desert, that's why they burn the bodies. This is desertic land, that's why agriculture is not prominent here. Pasture activity is prominent here. That's why sheep, goat, etc. is essential part of these religions, right? That's why these religions advocate for even eating goat, sheep, etc. You get the point? So that's why you will find a lot of similarity between Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Similarly, you will find similarities between Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, etc. Also, there are differences. There are differences amongst these three religions also, but there are similarities also. So, Jews has been forced to leave the parts of Israel, modern day, today's Israel, in the past. So they have been living in different parts of the world, especially in Europe, from Russia to Britain, to Germany, to France, Italy, Greece, everywhere they were living. So Jews get scattered throughout the Europe, and they want to return to their homeland so that they can live together. Earlier, they were living in scattered manner. The special thing about Jews were that in whichever country they were living, they were holding top positions in that society, like the businessmen, scientists, or artists, right? Or professors, intellectuals, the politicians, civil servants, judges, etc. generally were Jews. So they were minority in every society, be it of Hungary, Greece, Russia, Germany, France, etc. But everywhere, they were excelling in every field. They were holding top positions or influential positions in the society. And such influence or dominance of Jews still continue in the world. still continue in the world. They are less than 1% of global population. Their population is around 1 crore in the world, just 1 crore out of 700 crore people of the world. But more than 25% of Nobel Prizes have been won by Jews. More than 25%. For example, Albert Einstein, he was Jews. Newton was a Jew. Right? The top theorists, academicians, professors, thinkers, scholars are Jews. For example, Karl Marx. If you have heard the name Karl Marx, he was Jew. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg is Jew. Google founders are Jews. Right? They are holding more than 50% of American wealth, despite the fact they are just less than 1% of population. The top venture capitalists of the world or top banks of the world like Citibank and so on are owned by Jews. Understood? The current Ukrainian president Zelensky is Jew, and so on. So Jews are not a vulnerable or a marginalized minority. They are dominant minority. Here, for example, Jains are also in India minority, but they are not economically weak minority. Top businessmen of the world, of India, are Jains. For example, Adani is Jain. Clear? Or take the example of Sikhs. Despite the fact holding less than 1% of population, have their community PM for 10 years in the country. Have their president also, Gyani Jail Singh. Ministers in every government cabinet, right? Or participation in military, participation in sports, right? Or in art or in business. Everywhere you will find Sikh community. So Sikh community is also not a weak minority community. It's a dominant minority community. Similarly, Jews are not marginalized minority community. They are very strong, powerful, dominant minority community. So since they were holding the power, status, resources, etc. in the respective society wherever they were living, they got hate against themselves from the locals. So everywhere Jews were hated because of their huge success or control over power, resources, facilities, privileges, etc. Right? So that's why everywhere, wherever they live, they have faced prosecution. They have faced prosecution by the local communities. That's why they started visualizing a separate homeland for themselves, so that they can live there and they do not need to face the prosecution in their own homeland. That's why they started demanding the creation of Israel in late 19th century and early 20th century, and finally their separate homeland dream get fulfilled in 1948 by creation of Israel. Right? So Jews have been persecuted in the past, and many Jews have taken refuge in India. So less than 1% population of Jews also live in India. India has less than 1% of Jews population. Jews live in Mumbai, Kerala, West Bengal, and other parts of the country. And Jews, they themselves admit that in India they never faced any kind of persecution or discrimination or any hostility by local Indians. Clear? So despite the fact India has given hospitality to Jews, right, shelter, protection to Jews, India has been sympathetic towards Jews' cause. That's to they should also have their own homeland, right? But India has not supported Israel openly, publicly in 1948. We have in fact opposed Balfour Declaration of 1970. We have opposed UN admission of Israel. We opposed that Israel should not be made member of UN. We established full diplomatic relation with Israel only in 1998. Sorry, only in 1992. We established full diplomatic relation with Israel only in 1992. So we were hesitant to develop full diplomatic relation with Israel after independence. Reason, one, that we don't want to offend Western Asian countries because we need their oil and gas. Second, why we were opposing creation of Israel? Because Israel is the only country in the world which is created on the basis of religion. No country in the world is created solely on the reason of religion. Countries may have made any particular religion as their official religion, but they are not created for religion. Right? So there was no precedent in global political history of creation of any state solely, exclusively on the basis of religion. Clear? Second, that Britain, America, they have made a plan to create Israel in 1917 itself. Balfour Declaration. Britain is supporting creation of Israel by this declaration, Balfour Declaration. So Britishers have made their mind in 1917 itself to create Israel, so that they could have their own person in West Asia to protect their oil and gas extraction and shipment from this region through Suez Canal to Britain, France, then to America, etc. So that's why they need their own person in the region. That's why in 1917 itself they have decided for creation of Israel. And Israel has to be created from the territory of Palestine, and Palestine is inhabited by Muslims. Palestine is Muslim dominated country. So you have to snatch away territory from Muslim country to give it to a Jewish community. So Muslims will feel offended, angry that their territory has been separated, right? Their territory have been snatched away. So these all Muslim countries of West Asia will get angry if Israel is created. So to pacify Muslim countries of West Asia, because all countries of West Asia are Muslim, to satisfy them, pacify them, Britishers created Pakistan in 1947. That was the another reason for creation of Pakistan, so that they can say to these Muslim countries, look, for your community, for your Muslim community, we have created a separate state, Pakistan. Clear? Now we are taking little bit of your territory of Palestine to create independent state of Israel. Clear? A state for Jews. So like a barter exchange happened. For Muslims, Pakistan was created, and for Jews, Israel is created. Clear? You understood? That's why after 1917 or in 1920s, you will see rise of Jinnah. Jinnah was in England. He was brought back to India to raise the demand of Pakistan, two-nation theory. That idea was given by Britishers to Jinnah. You get the point? And Britishers readily fulfill the demand of Jinnah. That's by creating Pakistan. So Israel creation or Pakistan creation becomes justification for Israel creation. That's why how we can support Israel creation. If we are accepting that on the basis of religion a state can be created, a country can be created, then it means we are supporting or accepting the two-nation theory of Jinnah. Jinnah says Muslims can't live with Hindu. We say Hindu and Muslims can live together. There could be a common country of Hindu, Muslim, or even of Christian, or even of Sikhs, or even tribals, non-tribals, or whatever religion you are following in this country. Right? That's our theory. But Jinnah theory is Pakistan only for Muslims. So if we are accepting that on the basis of religion a state can be created, right, by acknowledging Israel existence, then we are justifying, supporting, acknowledging Jinnah's theory of two nations. We are accepting that Jinnah was right. You get the point? So that's why we have opposed Balfour Declaration, 1917. Right? That's why we have been with Palestine more after independence than with Israel. We have not established full diplomatic relation with Israel. Clear? There was backdoor engagement with Israel, private, but not open, not public. Israel has helped India in 1962 China war, Pakistan war, 65, 71, etc. Right? By providing intelligence, by providing defense equipment, etc. But such cooperation was behind the doors, never on public or never openly. So British created Pakistan a Muslim state for justification of creation of Jewish state of Israel. Clear? So Pakistan become first religion-based state to justify the second religion-based state of Israel. So that's why Pakistan has natural affinity with West Asian countries. So Pakistan always says to these West Asian countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, UAE that we are Muslim brothers to each other. To Iran it also says we are Muslim brothers and so on. So that's why Pakistan always got West Asian countries support, be it Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, etc. against India on Kashmir issue or during wars, 65, 71 war, etc. Because Pakistan is playing Muslim card. Now you understood why Pakistan is more close to West Asian countries than India. Why Turkey came in support of Pakistan in Operation Sindoor, right? Or why Pakistan is now mediating between USA and Israel, or why you must have heard in news the defense agreement between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, which says attack on one is attack on other also. Pakistan, Gulf countries relation are very close, even closer than India. Now we have started building our relation closely with Gulf countries, but since independence, it was Pakistan who was more closer to Gulf countries. For Gulf countries, Pakistan state was created. That also one of the reason of creation of Pakistan. That's why, just like there is a special protection group which provides security to Prime Minister of India, similarly to Saudi Arabian king and prince. Do you know who provides the security? Pakistani military. Pakistani military provide personal protection to Saudi Arabia king and prince. So that's the level of closeness between Gulf countries and Pakistan. Then Pakistan joined Baghdad Pact, that with Iran, Iraq and Turkey, because all were under US camp. And this pact was meant to prevent Soviet influence in this region, because West Asia was largely under US influence at that time. Clear? Then Organization of Islamic Countries summit happened in 1969 at Rabat, that's in Morocco. India also hosts more than 20 crore population of Muslims. So India is also home to Muslim population. Organization of Islamic Countries meant to promote cooperation amongst all Muslim countries of the world. So India have, I think, second or third largest Muslim population in the world. So India should also be member of Organization of Islamic Countries. So Organization of Islamic Countries have invited India in 1969. India joined such meeting, attended such meeting, and India wished to become member of Organization of Islamic Countries. But Pakistan blocked India entry and even blocked any Indian participation in meeting of OIC, because Pakistan never want India in this grouping. Clear? Because Pakistan want to project itself only as the Muslim state, thereby should have relation with other Muslim countries of the world. Despite the where India is third largest Muslim population in the world, will Pakistan never want India to project itself as also a state of Muslim. It always wants to project India as only state of Hindus. But we, India as secular state, is home of Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, or Buddhist, or even any other religion which is there on this territory. Clear? You understood? And OIC on Pakistan behest always passed anti-India resolution on Kashmir. Clear? And Pakistan always gets support of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and so on. Then Soviet invasion of Afghanistan 1979. In response to that, you know that USA makes the strategy of jihad by Afghani Mujahideens against Soviet regime in Afghanistan, and it was backed by Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia's Maulvis have trained those Mujahideens for waging jihad by imparting ideology of Wahhabism, Salafism. Clear? So Saudi Arabia and Pakistan further become closer. Clear? So that's why Saudi Arabia and UAE always been strong Pakistani supporter, and even they have supported Taliban regime between 1996 to 2001. All this we have discussed in Afghanistan. Clear? And Iran also have remained pro-Pakistan because Iran shared boundary with Pakistan. Clear? So whether it was Shah or Khomeini, see, Iran was pro-USA till 1979, and at that time Shah dynasty was there. There was monarchy in Iran, Shah dynasty, and that was pro-USA. But in 1979, Iranian revolution happened and Khomeini get the power, and Iran turned anti-USA. But Iran remained pro-Pakistan vis-a-vis India, whether it was Shah in power or Khomeini in power, because of strategic reasons, because Iran share borders with Pakistan, and also ideological reasons, because Iran want to emerge as Muslim leader of the world, so it need Pakistani support to emerge as the Muslim leader of the world. Clear? You understood? During Cold War, Indian friend in Middle East or West Asia was Egypt. In 1950s-60s, because Egypt at that time was ruled by Nasir. Nasir was also follower of non-alignment, same game, tilted more towards USSR than USA. So, and Egypt also came under USSR camp later on. We also become part of USSR camp later on. So that's why we had relation with Egypt at that time, because we were part of same camp, USSR camp. Clear? At that time, India has supported pan-Arab nationalism. Pan-Arab nationalism means Egypt wanted to create, just like America, United States of Arab. Right? That Arab nationalism or solidarity he wanted to promote. So that Egypt vision India supported. So Egypt got support of Syria at that time. Syria was pro-USSR. So India had relation with Syria also. Later on, earlier Iraq was under USA influence, but in Iraq, Saddam Hussein came into power. And Saddam Hussein was pro-USSR, socialist regime he was heading. So Iraq also became friend of India. So Iraq, Syria and Egypt, they were our friends in West Asia. So we were supporting pan-Arab nationalism, socialism, secularism. We have supported Egypt in Suez crisis and 1967 war. What was Suez crisis and 1967 war? We will discuss in Israel-Palestine issue. You understood? So in that period, India has socialist friends, that is Egypt and Iraq and Syria. Clear? So during Saddam Hussein era, India-Iraq relation become very close, multi-sectoral means on multiple domains we were cooperating. Clear? Because Iraq was also in USSR camp, so was India. So Iraq became our major oil supplier, and also we were providing training to Iraqi army. And Iraq always have backed India against Pakistan in wars. Clear? Always have supported India's position on Kashmir, not of Pakistan. Clear? Because Iraq was in same camp that we belong, that was USSR. You know about Saddam Hussein? He was ruler of Iraq, right? And he was ousted by America. America intervened militarily in Iraq in 2003, hence forcefully ousted Saddam Hussein from power. And after a few years, he get captured by American forces, just like Venezuela president is captured, right? But Venezuela president, he was in office when he was captured, but he was ousted from power, and American forces were able to locate him and capture him. Then his trial happened in America and was given death sentence. America intervened in Iraq by telling a lie to the world. What lie America told the world? That Saddam Hussein is possessing weapons of mass destruction, that's chemical weapons it has, and it may use such weapons. So that's why it's necessary for America to prevent such use of chemical weapons. That's why it has intervened militarily to remove Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq. But the real reason was Iraq was pro-USSR. After USSR disintegration, pro-Russia. That's why America ousted him from power. But he was our closest ally. Clear? You understood? So end of Cold War, India had few friends only in West Asia. That's Syria, Saddam Hussein, Oman, and Arafat, that's of Palestine Liberation Organization head. So Palestine was our friend, Saddam Hussein, Iraq, Oman and Syria. Egypt no longer. Why? Because Egypt after 1970s have moved towards American bloc. So till 1970, Egypt was India's friend, but after 1970s, Egypt moved towards American bloc. That's why Egypt do not longer remain that close friend of India. Syria also has pro-USSR government, Russia government, that's why it was our friend. Clear? In 1991, we faced economic crisis also. We have to mortgage gold with Bank of England to get loan, to get pounds, dollars, etc. So to pay for oil and gas bills from Gulf countries. So to pay Gulf countries oil and gas bills, we mortgage our gold. USSR get disintegrated, right? USSR get disintegrated. So USSR is not giving us oil and gas, defense equipment, etc. So now we need new partners for our energy supplies. So that's why after Cold War, India shed Pakistani centric lens. Means India was saying either be friend of me or of Pakistan. If you are friend with Pakistan, it means you are not friend of mine. Or we were asking Western Asian countries to support India's position on Kashmir or against Pakistan, etc. So Pakistan was basically becoming the main prop of relation between West Asian countries and India. So West Asian and India engagement was revolving around Pakistan. So after Cold War, when P.V. Narasimha Rao was in power, very shrewd person, very smart, he dropped Pakistan centric lens for our engagement with West Asia. He start asking West Asia, leave the Pakistan matter. Let's engage at independent level, bilaterally with each other. Clear? Neither we will ask you, to go against Pakistan on Kashmir issue, etc. Nor you will ask us to fall in line with Pakistani position on Kashmir. Let's exclude Pakistan from our bilateral engagement. Clear? Let's build relation independently with each other. There is now, at the same time, no camp politics. There is only single camp now, that's of USA. Right? There is no such question, you being Saudi Arabia being in USA camp, we being in USSR camp, that's why relation can't be built. Now we are in same camp. So let's build relation independently. And let's not allow Pakistan matter to come in between our relationship. Clear? You understood? So that's why India adopted very pragmatic and interest-based diplomacy after Cold War II, after end of Cold War. That we need to just get our interests served. Right? We will not give moral gyan to West Asian countries. Please don't fight. Right? It's wrong for Saudi Arabia to attack Yemen, or Israel to attack Iran, or Iran to attack Israel through Houthis or through Hezbollah or to Hamas, etc. We will not give any gyan. We shed rhetorics. We just start focusing upon securing our oil and gas shipments and ensuring safety of our Indian workers there. That's it. So our foreign policy now become pragmatic and interest-based. If they are fighting for whatever reason, that's their fight. Our goal is get oil and gas from there, ensure Indian worker safety there. That's it. Clear? You understood? Earlier during Nehru specially period or Indira Gandhi period, we were giving gyan to them. That stopped after 1991. Clear? So we start engaging with all West Asian states without selectivity. Earlier we were selective: Egypt, Syria, Palestine, Iraq. Right? Now we say with all. Iran and Saudi Arabia rivals, we will maintain relation with both. Saudi Arabia and Israel are rivals, we will maintain relationship with both. Clear? So India ensure engagement with all. Then India also quoted USA to build our relation with these countries, because largely these West Asian countries were under influence of control of USA. So USA also helped us to build our relation with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, etc. Clear? And in 1991, earlier we used to vote against Israel in UN General Assembly resolutions, which calls for Israel doing atrocities against Palestine, doing racial discrimination against Palestinians, etc. For the first time, we have not voted against Israel in 1991. That was a signal that India now wants to have full relation with Israel. So in 1992, India established full diplomatic relation with Israel. So now India is following the policy of engagement of all. So we will engage Israel, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Iran, everybody. So we have consulted PLO chief, Palestine Liberation Organization chief, Arafat, that we are building full relation with Israel. And full relation building with Israel does not mean that we will be anti-Palestine. Or if we are having relation with Palestine, it does not mean we are anti-Israel. Right? So we will make sure that bilateral relation between Israel and India will not be anti-Palestine. Bilateral relation between India and Palestine will never be anti-Israel. Clear? And in 1993, India also reached out to Iran. The Iran president also visited India, Rafsanjani. He developed personal rapport with Narasimha Rao. And after 1990s, Iran became very cautious of issuing anti-India statements on Kashmir. And Iran also started supplying oil and gas to us. Earlier Iran was pro-Pakistan. Now Iran is doing balancing act between India and Pakistan. Clear? And Gulf countries sees the rapid Indian economic growth after liberalization reforms of 1991 when we moved towards capitalism. Clear? So they wanted to invest their surplus money in India and want to get some returns from it. So Indian economy become attractive for them. Indian economy also started having a large demand for or high demand for oil and gas. So it means India is going to emerge as big consumer of their oil and gas. Right? So by selling oil and gas to India, they can earn so much money. Then India economy is rising, then India can export them food grains or to tea, coffee, spices or automobiles or pharma products, etc. So that's why the Gulf countries, West Asian countries start realizing the importance of India. And at the same time, India was rising, Pakistan was declining. I've told you by 1990, Pakistan was richer than India, more developed than India, trust me. Its per capita income was twice than that of India. It has world advanced machinery, electronic gadgets, defense equipment, etc. Pakistan was way ahead than India, in economy especially. Clear? But because of its involvement in Afghan war, it has just destroyed its economy, society, polity, everything. So Pakistan start declining and India start rising. Right? And Indian global reputation also rise because Indian Muslim never joined any terrorist group of the world. Earlier it was extremist group like Taliban, terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda or today's ISIS, etc. Indians never joined. Indian Muslims never complained about being discriminated or oppressed or dehumanly treated by Hindus or any other community in India. So Muslim countries of West Asia felt confident about India, that Indians are taking so good care of Muslims here. Because earlier they used to listen stories from Pakistani mouth. They used to feed the narrative into Gulf countries' minds that India is mistreating Muslims, oppressing Muslims, especially in Kashmir, right? That's why we Muslim countries have to be united to protect our fellow brothers, our fellow Muslim brothers in India, right? So Pakistan was giving a very false picture of India. But when India started engaging these countries individually, and these countries themselves observe, notice how well Muslims are treated in our country, even better than Pakistan. Clear? How well Muslims are there in India than most of the Muslim countries of the world. Clear? You understood? Now West Asia and Gulf Cooperation Council start seeing India very positively, be it for economy, be it for society, or be it for even military. Because these Gulf countries, do remember, West Asian countries are not militarily strong. Because Saudi Arabia, UAE have outsourced their security to America. That's why they are dependent on America. They do have their army, navy, but it's very weak because they are 90% dependent on America. Iran could have built strong military, but Iran always remained American sanctions. That's why Iran was not able to sell oil and gas to the rest of the world in large quantities, right? That's why largely it sell to China, Russia, etc. very small quantity, that too. That's why Iran does not get that money from oil and gas sales because of American sanctions to build strong military. Clear? So Iran also do not have strong military. The strong military power, who has? Israel. Because US provides so much defense equipments to Israel. That's why Israel dared to take panga with everyone. And why US provide to Israel? Because it is said that US is being controlled by Jews. Because the defense companies are owned by Jews. Scientists who made these advanced defense equipments are Jews. The investors in these defense companies are Jews. Clear? So that's why not America will provide the advanced defense equipments to Jews, that is Israel. We understood? It is said that whoever Jews choose become the president of America. So Donald Trump was favored by Jews. He became the president because they control media outlets also, newspapers, television channels are also controlled by Jews. So they can set the narrative for the candidate chosen by Jews. Clear? The major Hollywood actors are also Jews, sports person also Jews, military generals also Jews. So Jews have domination in every sphere of life. Then this pragmatic interest-based diplomacy of India with West Asian countries start giving result in Kargil war, when West Asian states have not supported Pakistan for the first time. Earlier in 65 and 71 war, they have supported Pakistan, but in Kargil war, they have not supported. Clear? And post 2000, there was dramatic improvement in India Gulf Cooperation Council relations or West Asian relations. For example, India-Iran ties improved. Chaba deal, you know that we have discussed, right? Or international North-South transport corridor, by which we get access to Bandar Abbas port of Iran to reach out to Central Asia, Eastern Europe, Russia, etc. And then Israel ties are dehyphenated now. This policy change made by Prime Minister Modi, that India now had dehyphenated policy with respect to Israel. Dehyphenation means earlier we were dealing with Israel from the lens of Palestine, or you can understand this like earlier during Cold War, USA was engaging with India through the lens of Pakistan. That USA was saying to India that you have to come online with the terms of Pakistan on Kashmir, then I will build a relation with you. Or I will build that much relation with you that will not offend Pakistan. Because Pakistan is topmost priority for me. I can't make Pakistan angry for my relation with you. Clear? So that much relation I will have with you, that much Pakistan is okay with. Clear? But as we discussed, after Cold War and US-India start coming closer, strategic partnership we have with USA in 2004, USA also start dehyphenating India and Pakistan. USA start saying Pakistan and US-India are going to be dealt independently by USA. India-USA relation and USA-Pakistan relation are mutually exclusive to each other, right? So USA stopped seeing India from the lens of Pakistan. Now USA do not care that its deepening relation with India is making Pakistan angry. Similarly, we were also seeing Israel through the lens of Palestine, that much cooperation we will have with Israel that will not offend angry Palestine, because if Palestine get angry, then these West Asian countries will get angry and they will not give us oil and gas. Now we say in Palestine and Israel relations are independent to each other. Clear? We will have a relation with Israel without thinking that it will angry Palestine. Obviously, we will not develop that relation which will be anti-Palestine. We will have independent relation with Israel which will be mutually benefiting to Israel and India. But our deep, closer relation with Israel should not be matter of concern for Palestine. Similarly, we will develop deep and close relation with Palestine. That will not be matter of concern for Israel. Obviously, India-Palestine relation will not be such which will undermining Israel, which will be anti-Israel. Our relation with Palestine will not be such. Clear? But our deep and wide relation with Palestine should not be worried by Israel. Clear? Should not be interfered by Israel. So that's the dehyphenation. And that happened, how dehyphenation? Because whenever suppose Indian foreign minister is visiting Israel, he will also visit Palestine, because we are seeing them together. Palestine should not be angry, right? We are putting Israel co-equal with Palestine, right? Or Palestine may be put greater than Israel. Similarly, when US president used to come to India, he will always visit Pakistan. So when Barack Obama visited India in 2016, he had not visited Pakistan. That shows US had dehyphenated India and Pakistan. Similarly, when Prime Minister Modi visited Israel, he have not visited Palestine. And when he visited Palestine, he has not visited Israel. Because now Israel and Palestine, Israel-Palestine relation are dehyphenated to each other. You understood? If US President is not visiting Pakistan, it becomes an issue. If US President is visiting India, not visiting Pakistan, it's an issue, right? But if US President visiting India, not visiting Bangladesh, not visiting Myanmar, not visiting Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, etc., or any of other neighbor country, then that's not an issue. Why it is issue? It's not visiting Pakistan because USA was hyphenating India-Pakistan relation. Means always see India relation together with Pakistan. Clear? You understood? If Indian Prime Minister visiting Israel, not visiting Saudi Arabia, not visiting Oman, not visiting Syria, Lebanon, etc., not an issue. Why it's issue that he is not visiting Palestine? Because earlier we were seeing Israel-Palestinian relation with India together. Now we say they are mutually exclusive to each other. Clear? You understood? If we are meeting with Israel, independently we are meeting, just like we are meeting Morocco, Nigeria, etc., independently. Similarly, we are visiting Israel independently. If we are visiting Palestine, then also we are visiting Palestine independently, just like we are visiting or engaging with Greece, Italy, etc., independently. Clear? So we will not see both together in joint manner. Clear? We will see them separately, independently. Understood? That's the policy of dehyphenation, did by Prime Minister Modi. Clear? And India have never allowed conflicts in South Asia to undermine, conflicts in West Asia to undermine our relation with them, be it Syrian war, Yemen war, ISIS rise. I've told you, this Islamic State get rise in this region, parts of Syria and parts of Iraq. Terrorist organization which create country of their own. Or Iran-Arab tensions, Israel-Hamas tensions, right? Or even the political transitions, means some democratic movement started in these West Asian countries, because West Asian countries are largely monarchies, right, or dictatorships. So democratic movement started in Tunisia first, then spread to Egypt, right, spread to Libya, spread to Syria, Yemen, etc. So India have never interfered in these matters. India maintained relation with all. Clear? You understood? About West Asia. So democratic movements are happening in West Asian countries. So these West Asian countries are monarchies, Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. And they have this tacit agreement, implicit agreement, indirect agreement with their population. That there is Saudi Arabia monarch, suppose, then there is Saudi Arabian people. Saudi Arabia monarch says, I will give you economic prosperity. How? By selling oil and gas. Whatever the money I receive, I will distribute amongst you all. You all will live economically prosperous life. That's why sheikhs in Saudi Arabia live royal life, like going in Ferrari, right, or having big mansions to live by, right, have so many household helpers and so on. So they do nothing, they receive money from government and live a luxurious life. It means they have economic freedom to live a luxurious life. Clear? Same is the case with UAE, etc., Qatar and so on. In return, In return, people will not demand political freedom from monarch. Means will not demand democracy. They will accept monarch authority. Clear? That's why UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, all are monarchies. Now this arrangement is falling. Why? Can you think of? Because little we have discussed earlier also. Could you link to that? This arrangement is falling. Why? Because monarch may not give economic prosperity to people. Why? Because oil and gas is now sunset sector. In next 10-15 years, oil and gas sales will not be there because of solar power plants, electric vehicles, etc. Nobody will purchase oil and gas. So how monarch will then provide economic prosperity to people? So if monarch is not able to provide economic prosperity, then people will not subject themselves to monarch authority, and then they will demand democracy. And by democracy, who will lose the power? Monarch. That's why you must have seen in news that Saudi Arabia is inviting investments in its tourism sector, in sports sector, is building pub, bars, clubs, etc. Or developing AI centers, or information and communication technology, or software sector, etc. Saudi Arabia is allowing women to go outside home without male permission. Earlier, male permission was required, either of husband, brother, father, etc. Saudi Arabian women now can drive cars. Earlier could not drive cars. Can visit outside without wearing burqa. Can go to theater, can go to mall, can go to pub, bar, etc. Earlier was not allowed. Just recently, in last 5-10 years, it was allowed. Right? Why Saudi Arabia is doing so? Why there is change of heart of monarchy for providing women rights? They are doing for women? No, they are doing for themselves. Because earlier they have restricted political freedoms by monarchy, no democracy. They have restricted social freedoms also by keeping society conservative. Like women will remain within 4 walls of the house, have to wear burqa, etc. Can't do job and so on. Now they have realized that they can't sustain that economic prosperity they were giving to people. That's why they are now allowing social freedoms. So that in future they don't demand political freedoms. Clear? They are now inviting American investments in AI or software sector so that people can get jobs there. Right? Can get jobs there. And through that, they could maintain their economic prosperity. If their economic prosperity is maintained, they will not demand democracy. You understood? That's why Saudi Arabia, you must have heard about building new cities, or even a football Premier League, Saudi Arabia is running, right? And so on. Clear? So these reforms monarchy is doing to prevent any democratic movement in Saudi Arabia. So now coming to the Gulf Cooperation Council. So it has 6 West Asian states. Though America promote democracy all over the world, it always says that it has intervened in Iraq because Iraq President Saddam Hussein was dictator, and America wants to oust Saddam Hussein from power, so to introduce democracy there. It intervened in Afghanistan to remove Taliban, to introduce democracy there. It is intervening now in Iran, earlier in Venezuela, to introduce democracy there because they are ruled by dictators and so on. But America always make democracy as the excuse for intervention in other countries. But America is okay with monarchies of Saudi Arabia or UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, etc. Why? Because for America, dictatorship is good if it is promoting American interest. Right? It is bad when they go against American interest. And America is okay with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar monarchies. So Gulf Cooperation Council consists 6 West Asian states: Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, right, Qatar, Oman, right, and Bahrain. Clear? So these are the 6 states in Gulf Cooperation Council. So you must remember these 6 names: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman. It was established in 1981 at Riyadh. Riyadh is in which country? Saudi Arabia. Its official name is Cooperation Council for Arab States of Gulf, but do not need to remember, just remember Gulf Cooperation Council. It's a political, economic, security alliance. It's a political, economic, security alliance. Economic alliance means free trade agreement amongst member countries. Political alliance means they have a meeting in which they discuss the common matters and ensure cooperation, and also discuss world matters so that Gulf Cooperation Council could have unified stand on global matters. For example, America intervening in Venezuela or attacking Iran, etc. Then there could be individual stand of Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. Or there could also be joint stand of all members of Gulf Cooperation Council. So they have cooperation on political matters also. Clear? You understood? Because they have shared political and cultural identity. All are Sunni Muslim states. So the Gulf Cooperation Council has Supreme Council. That is basically Council of Head of State, which is the highest decision maker. Annual summit happen and decisions are taken unanimously. And presidency rotates annually amongst the member countries in alphabetical order. I have told you it's a security alliance also. So that's why they have Defense Planning Council, which is attended by Defense Minister of every member country. And this Defense Planning Council coordinates the joint military action. For example, in Yemen, Gulf Cooperation Council is supposed having joint military action. Then it will be coordinated by Defense Planning Council. Clear? So there is a joint military force named Peninsula Shield Force. That's of these 6 countries, located in Saudi Arabia, and it is coordinated by whom? Defense Planning Council. So who go ahead to this Peninsula Shield Force for any attack against any other country? Defense Planning Council. Clear? Who oversee how this Peninsula Shield Force is conducting its operation? Defense Planning Council. Clear? Then there is Intelligence Sharing Pact also, whereby member countries will share intelligence if any of insurgent activity, separatist activity or terrorist activity, etc. Clear? And in 2009 they have the agreement to have single regional currency like euro, but still no such single currency came into being. So they have the objective of becoming monetary union, but they are not able to become so. Clear? As of now it's a political or security union. Clear? So India, now we are coming to the India-Gulf relations. So no major power in the world have India level socio-cultural compatibility with Gulf countries or economic interdependence with Gulf countries. For example, economic interdependence, India need oil and gas from Gulf countries, right? And Gulf countries need food grains from India because they are desertic countries. Medicines from India, right? Or textiles from India, or the cheap labor from India, etc. Clear? Because their economy is run by Indians, means who are the workers in their construction sector, in their oil and gas exploration, refinery sector, Indians. Because they have kept their population very low. In Qatar, total population is 1 crore. Total population of Qatar is 1 crore. But 97 lakh around are immigrants, workers. Only 3 lakh are natives. Similar is case for Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. Their own native population is quite low. Why they have kept their population low? Because monarch wants to distribute oil and gas revenue amongst the people to keep everybody prosperous. So if they have large population, then the cakes that will be divided amongst them will have very small share. But if they have low population, then each will have large share of cake. Social cultural compatibility, be it Islam or the language like Arabic, Persian, etc. have influence over Indian languages, be it Hindi, etc. Urdu has words from Arabic, Persian, Hindi, and so on. Clear? For example, if you know about this word, akhbar, rose, atwar, etc. all are Urdu or Arabic, Persian origin words. Then food is also similar of Saudi Arabia and or Gulf countries and India. Clear? Dresses are similar. The values like family traditions, etc. are also similar, and so on. There is no contentious issue between India and Gulf countries now, except Organization of Islamic Countries issuing statement against India on Kashmir. This OIC issue because of Pakistan, and Gulf countries support Pakistan, so to keep Pakistan happy. Because also they need Pakistan. Do not think that for India they will give up Pakistan. Never they will give up Pakistan. And neither we want, because now our engagement with Gulf countries are independent of Pakistan. And these OIC statements does not mean much, because that is not changing anything on ground. These are just verbal statements. Clear? So that's why India do not take OIC statements seriously. Not Gulf countries also take seriously. These are just formalities. In every annual meeting of OIC, anti-India Kashmir statement is made. But that does not changing anything on ground. That's why India have stopped taking these statements seriously. Clear? You understood? Then India's stance regarding or policy regarding Gulf countries is no external imposition of political system in these countries. Means, I've told you America intervened in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, etc. on the pretext of introduction of democracy. So we made it clear that such democratic political system should not be externally imposed in these countries. If people want, then only it should be introduced. If people are okay with their monarchies, then it's okay, right? They should not be forcibly changed to democratic societies. Clear? So India respects Gulf monarchies because it's very stable for the peninsular region of West Asia. Because these Gulf monarchs are very insecure now. They fear lose of power to democracy, to people. And India says, we are respecting your authority over your societies, and India will not play any role in dislodging you from power. In fact, India is supporting monarchy there. And it's compatible with peninsular traditions. How peninsular tradition compatible? See, when USA is asked that on one instance you are saying that democracy is good for the whole world, democracy should be there in every country, right? Even you militarily intervene in Iraq, Syria, Libya, etc. to introduce democracy there, right? Then why you are not pushing for democracy to your allies in Gulf region? That's why you are not pushing democracy in Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. Then USA, how it defend its support of Gulf monarchies? It says democracy is incompatible with Islam. Islamic societies can't be run by democratic system. That USA says. But that's hypocrisy of highest order. Indonesia is Islamic country. India has second largest population of Muslims. Right? Mauritius, Maldives, Maldives have Muslim population, they are also democratic. So when these Muslim countries can run as per democracy, why not UAE, Saudi Arabia, right? So that's why the US reason of Islam incompatible with compatible with democracy is hypocrisy of highest order. Clear? We understood? So what does it mean? Consistent with peninsular traditions? Again, India is saying the same thing, but indirectly. Clear? We understood? Means these Gulf countries, societies want monarchy, not democracy. Clear? So we should not externally impose democracy over them. Then 26/11 Mumbai attack happened, and many Gulf country diplomats or politicians or businessmen, etc. get died. They were also there in Taj Hotel. So now Gulf countries realize the danger of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, because if they are investing in India, their investments can be attacked by Pakistan-based terrorist groups. That's why Gulf countries have put a lot of pressure on Pakistan, apart from USA, Europe, to tighten the screws on terrorist groups. So since then, Saudi Arabia, UAE having strong counter-terrorism cooperation with India. Even they have extradited many terrorists who were having safe shelter in these countries back to India. Clear? So now they are not cooperating with, or they are not cooperating, they are not giving any shelter to terrorist groups, right? And they are cooperating with India for extraditing back these terrorists to India. Clear? So now coming to the energy security. So what is energy security? International Energy Agency defined energy security. We will discuss today. International Energy Agency in the end defines energy security as uninterrupted supply of oil and gas, that too at affordable price. If you have uninterrupted supply of oil and gas, that too at affordable price, then you are energy secure. If you are not getting oil and gas, it means energy insecure. If you are getting oil and gas but very high price, you can't afford to pay, then again you are energy insecure. Understood? So both affordability and availability matters. And for energy security, Gulf countries are very important because India is net energy importer and Gulf is the key source of it. They are the suppliers, we are the buyers. The Gulf share of Indian oil imports is around 45%. And Saudi Arabia is the largest supplier in oil. Oil is largely supplied by Saudi Arabia amongst the Gulf countries. Then Gulf countries met 60% of our natural gas needs. And which country supply the largest gas supplies to India? Which country provide largest gas supplies to India? Oil largest amongst Gulf countries provided by Saudi Arabia. Gas, no, amongst Gulf countries. Amongst Gulf countries. UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar. It is Qatar. So Qatar is the main source of gas for India. Clear? Supplying almost 45% of our gas needs. Clear? You understood? That's why when Iran attacked Qatar, destroy its gas facilities, gas supply to India get restricted. Not only because of blocking of Strait of Hormuz, but also because of Iranian attack on gas facilities in Qatar. Then coming to the Indian diaspora. So these Gulf countries host more than 9 million Indians. And Indians are the largest expatriate group in all Gulf country states. Because I've told you in Indian diaspora topic, they also like Indians. They give more visas to Indians as compared to Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Nepalis, etc. Right? So we have earned their trust by sincere hard work, honesty, our professionalism, integrity, etc. there. And they send more than $50 billion as remittances every year. And that $50 billion is 40% of total remittances. and more than 70% of them are blue collar workers, so they are earning very low. Still they save and send back to their families home, to send back to their families in India. Clear? Then Saudi Arabia provide Hajj quota of around 1,75,000 annually to India. Means every year 1,75,000 Indian Muslims can visit to Saudi Arabia for Hajj. So this quota Saudi Arabia determined for every country, for every Muslim inhabited country in the world. Because Saudi Arabia do not allow all Muslims of the world to come to Makkah for Hajj at the same time, because otherwise it will create stampede or congestion problem. That's why it allocates quota for every country Muslim to visit Makkah for Hajj. Understood? Then such migration was not government driven, it was led by people. So Middle Eastern countries have so close relation with Indian people that such migration happened by people themselves, not by government. It's not driven by government, it's driven by people. So we have ancient trade, cultural relations. So these Middle Eastern countries have invited these Middle Eastern countries, companies in oil and gas sector, construction sector, etc., have hired Indians on their own to work there. Clear? And Indians have built very strong reputation of being law-abiding, hard-working, honest, etc. That's why they prefer Indians over others. And such immigration of Indians to Gulf countries is continuing to rise despite stricter labor laws. For example, Saudi Arabia Nitakat policy, where Saudi Arabia is now saying 30% jobs in private sector shall be reserved for Saudi natives. Now you understand why 30% jobs for Saudi natives? Because monarchy is fearful of not able to maintain economic prosperity of the Saudi Arabians. That's why it is saying that every private company in Saudi Arabia has to provide 30% jobs to Saudi Arabians. Right? Despite those laws, Indians are going more and more to Gulf countries. Despite regional conflicts between Yemen, Syria, Israel, etc., Indians are going more and more to Gulf countries. Every year their numbers are rising. Clear? So now coming to the issues between Gulf and India. First is the Indian workers face delayed or non-payment of their wages, exit visa problem. Sometimes their passports are confiscated by employer so that they do not leave Gulf countries to go back to India. So they become bonded labor of them. Contract is non-fulfilled. For example, they are promised high wages but paid low. They are promised 8-hour work but they are made to work 16 hours a day. Then if they try to escape away from the employer will file false police case of theft, robbery, murder, etc. So that through police, such Indian could not be released out of employer hands. Clear? Then to address these issues, we signed labor agreements with Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. So if any Indian worker is facing any problem, then under these agreements, they can approach Saudi Arabia and UAE government, and government will take action against such employer. Clear? Understood? Then cultural relation also building between India and Gulf countries. For example, Srinathji temple built in Bahrain, and Babs Mandir, that's of ISKCON in UAE. Clear? So lots of Hindus lives in these Muslim countries now as workers. So that's why these Muslim countries, government or monarchies are now acknowledging, recognizing, allowing Hindu culture of Hindu Indian workers there by letting them construct temples there. For example, Srinathji temple and Babs Mandir. Clear? Understood? So now coming to the trade. So Gulf countries are top priority for India because 15% of our trade is with Gulf countries. You can see bilateral trade is around $178 billion, out of which Indian exports are $56 billion. We are exporting food, jewelry, textiles, pharmaceutical, etc. And we are importing largely oil and gas. Clear? Trade is in favor of Gulf countries because of oil and gas. If oil and gas is removed, then obviously trade will be in favor of India. So these countries were desertic countries, but their economic fate changed when they discovered oil and gas. It means because of their desertic region, not much factories can be established there because they don't have the resources, be it agriculture resource like cotton, right, or be it mineral resource like coal, iron, aluminum, etc. But they have oil and gas, they mine it, sell it, and by that they earn their money. Clear? Understood? Then India Gulf Cooperation Council Free Trade Agreement is under negotiation. Again, this you do not need to write, just keep in mind because I've told you only the agreement you should remember. Clear? Not the negotiation. Negotiations you should read. Then there is SEPA, that's Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with UAE, recently signed. Clear? Then Gulf countries have sovereign wealth funds and they have made investment commitments in India of more than $200 billion. So Gulf countries are going to invest more than $200 billion in India, like in power plants, roads, ports, etc. Now you may be thinking, what is sovereign wealth fund? They have oil and gas reserves. They sell it to the rest of the world, by which they earn money. Suppose they earn 1 lakh crore rupees. 1 lakh crore rupees, right? And they distributed, 60,000 crore among their people every year. Clear? Still they are left with 40,000 crore. Isn't it? Still they are left with 40,000 crore. Then what they do with this 40,000 crore? They put in a wealth fund. And that wealth fund is managed by government. That's why it's called as sovereign wealth fund. Wealth fund could also be private, but it is run by government. That's why it is called as sovereign wealth fund. That 40,000 crore they will invest in other countries. Establish, suppose, ports there or highways they will build. So if they build highway, then they will earn money through tolls, or there will be port charges, airport charges if they build, right, and so on. So they will be able to earn return from this investment in other countries. Understood? That's why these Gulf countries are very important for us as source of FDI, as source of investments. And Gulf countries have committed more than $200 billion in India. Clear? You understood? So we will get benefit of getting our infrastructure projects financed, and they will get benefit of getting return on their investments. It's like paise pe paisa banana, means they will make money out of money, right? Understood? So Saudi Arabia has committed around $100 billion investment in India. UAE $75 billion. Qatar 5 to 7. Kuwait, Oman $2 to $3 billion. So UAE and Saudi Arabia has largely committed for investments in India. So now coming to the strategic and maritime cooperation. So India maritime doctrine do include Gulf and Arabian Sea in its scope of operation. This region is primary interest area for Indian Navy, as we have discussed in Indian Ocean, right? So India will make sure that in this region security is provided to any ship of India carrying goods or oil and gas, etc., through Indian Navy. So Indian Navy will provide security to any ship moving in this region, especially to ships carrying oil and gas and also the other goods of India, right? So Indian Navy will make sure that our shipments are specially protected in Strait of Hormuz, Bab el-Mandeb, Suez Canal, or when passing through Arabian Sea. So this is the primary area of operation of Indian Navy. We have discussed in Indian Ocean. Clear? You understood? Then we have security and defense agreement with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman and Qatar, whereby we are going to have joint military exercises with them. We will sell defense equipments to them. We will train their military. We will train their military. Earlier Pakistan used to train their military, whatever small size they have. Now their military will be also trained by India. Then India Oman have strongest naval cooperation. We have a joint naval exercise named Nasim al-Bahar, right? Nasim al-Bahar. And the most important thing is Duqm Port. Must remember Duqm Port. That Oman has provided to India. Indian Navy can dock its ships here, replenish the supplies, and can have repairing or maintenance work done here, can get medical, food aid, etc. And also Duqm Port act as listening post for India, means through this port we can get to know which country ship is passing through this region. If we are awareness, then only we can plan to make sure, especially this Strait of Hormuz is not blocked, right? So we are keeping track of movement of ships, whether commercial ships or vast ships, through Duqm Port. So Duqm Port is quite essential for India for maintaining security to our shipments, especially in Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, thereby Arabian Sea, etc. Clear? And you know that Duqm Port is part of India's necklace of diamond strategy against China. Understood? And through this port also with Oman collaboration, with joint operation with Oman, we ensure that our ships are not attacked by pirates in this region especially. So during this Iran blockage of Strait of Hormuz, how Indian Navy is ensuring security to our ships in this region? Through Duqm Port. So joint exercises with Oman. In Army we have Al-Najah, in Navy Nasim al-Bahar, Air Force Eastern Bridge. UAE Army Desert Cyclone, Navy Jayat Talwar, Air Force Desert Eagle. Saudi Arabia Sadda Tanseek, Navy Al-Mohit Hindi. And with Qatar we have Jair al-Bahar. So little difficult to remember, but at least once or twice you should read to have in subconscious mind. And if you forget that this is Army or Navy or Air Force exercise, that's okay. You just remember there are joint military defenses, joint military exercises like Al-Najah, Nasim al-Bahar, Eastern Bridge, Desert Cyclone, etc. Clear? In mains you can simply write with Gulf countries or West Asian countries we have joint defense exercises. For example, 2-3 you mentioned, Al-Najah, Eastern Bridge, Desert Cyclone, Desert Eagle, etc. with easier names. Clear? But in prelims they can ask specifically, right, which joint exercise we have with which country. They can give you match the following, right? They can give you match the following like India-Russia joint exercise Indra, or Surya Kiran India-Nepal exercise, and then they will give you Desert Eagle, that's India-UAE exercise. You have to identify which of the pairs are correctly matched. Clear? So in prelims they can directly ask, but in mains 2-3 exercise name is more than enough to remember. Just remember 2-3 names, Desert Eagle, Desert Cyclone, etc. You can just make a point that we have joint defense exercises with Gulf countries. Then recently we have joint action plan with Gulf countries, whereby we are going to cooperate in health, energy, security, education sector. For example, IIT campuses will be opened in Gulf countries, or Indian students will study in Gulf countries universities, or their students can study in Indian IITs, etc. Right? Or they can seek treatment in Indian hospitals and so on. And both committed to maintain peace, prosperity in Indo-Pacific region. Because Gulf countries are also suspicious of possible Chinese dominance in Indo-Pacific region. And also in India's extended neighborhood, means the entire West Asia should remain peaceful, stable. Clear? Though we can't do much to maintain peace, stability there, at least morally we are supporting peace and stability there. Clear? So now, what are the security challenges that India is facing in West Asia, like radicalization, that's ISIS sector, or terrorism like Taliban, Al-Qaeda, or Pakistan-based terrorist groups sometimes take safe shelter in Gulf countries, or regional wars, Iran, Israel, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, etc., and maritime security, that is piracy attack around this region, or blockage of Strait of Hormuz, right, or Houthis attacking ships in Bab el Mandeb, etc. Right, all these things we will discuss